Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing Postal Service Simulator. Wait, hang on, not that one. Yeah, this one. Villa Gorilla's Yoku's Island Express came out in 2018, part Metroid-like, part pinball, all charm. Starting the game up to the title screen and I'm already enjoying my time. The visuals and music are so happy and infectious, I've never wanted to stay on a title screen more. The game starts off with Yoku taking over as head postmaster for the island. Post-pterodactyl being an exceptionally good name for the male bird. They must have been urgently hiring as the job seems to be fit for a bird, but Yoku rolls up with the pinball and they're like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. You get your first job and you're off on your way. You get taught the basic mechanics of Yoku. You move yourself around left and right like a normal two-dimensional game, but you also control the bumpers on the island with the left and right triggers. Yoku pushes the ball normally, but when the ball is being bounced, rolled, or airborne, Yoku just hangs on for dear life. The commitment is impressive. Look at him go. The game on the whole handles pretty fluidly. The bumpers display a small highlighted section that tells you where you are on the bumper. If you're used to pinball, it's not really necessary, but if you're not, like me, it's where you'll be looking at when needing to make a precise hit. The game is broken up into a few categorical areas. Areas where you walk around exploring at your own pace, areas where you are in a specific location and need to help someone out, and pinball tables. All three areas blend together seamlessly. You might spend more time exploring the island after you get some upgrades, but other than that, you rarely linger in one game type for too long. A testament to good pacing. Intermixed with the non-pinball areas are plenty of little bumpers and tracks to help keep the pinball feel. Those were the times when the level design impressed me the most. Creating original pinball tables is one thing, but creating an island that functions as a backtrackable Metroid-style map with pinball influences littered around the island everywhere you look is quite the feat. The beeline shooters used as the fast traveling in the game are great to keep the momentum up and match the pinball theme. There are some hidden areas that you can only access with the shooters as well, which give them extra utility. For the small shortcuts in the game, you push a boulder or a pole out of the way. Opening shortcuts feels more rewarding when you get to do it yourself. While you explore and backtrack, you'll come across plenty of life forms that have various tasks for the player to do. I say life forms because you help out a mushroom at one point. Some tasks are optional, some are required to gain access to the next area. They all feel reasonable and non-intrusive, some are even mail-related, which is extra great. It just feels good to deliver a package to someone. Yeah, delivering stuff is fun! The mail you're delivering is either very late packages, or you're cramming a bunch of letters into every mailbox you see. Who would have thought working for the Postal Service was so easy? However, it is here where one of my main issues with the game comes up. There's not enough Postal Service duties to do. After you deliver the late packages and stuff the mailboxes, that's it. The mail never stops. Until it does, apparently. It's nice and kind of funny that I can cram random mail in the empty mailboxes I see, but knowing that it's just another part of a bigger checklist for 100% completion that doesn't mean anything to anyone on the island makes the experience kind of hollow for me. Why does this island need a postal carrier if no one even reads the mail? Getting side quests from the characters on the island to deliver packages would have been a nice inclusion. The creatures themselves you help out offer a good variety in visuals and in their dialogue noises. When characters have a voiceover that isn't a real language, it's a win-win. A win for the development team, as they don't need to hire competent voice actors or voice in other languages. A win for the players, since there's no risk of potentially bad voice acting ruining your experience, and some voiceover is better than nothing at all. I particularly like the Slug Gardener, which sounds cute, and Dipperloaf, whose voice is deep and booming. I like that all of the animals on the island seem to live in houses and whatnot. When delivering a late package, you even found out someone has moved to a different house on the island. It's the little things that bring you closer to the world. Talking to Sandro, the game casually handles a silent protagonist perfectly. Every question you may have wanted to ask if you could is answered by her next sentence. Perfect. You can't ask for much more. Literally. You also can't ask for much more when it comes to the visuals and music. The art style is so easy on the eyes. I think Yoku is extremely cute, although it is a shame we don't see him up close more often. The inhabitants of the island all look endearing in their own way. some just outright adorable. The music is the unquestioned best part of the game. I know in my Snake Pass video I mentioned I would hum a song from the game at home from time to time. That has absolutely nothing on Yoku's Island Express's music. The title screen theme music and the opening area music are both ridiculously catchy. Going back to the gameplay, the pinball table sections are generally pretty well thought out and offer a good variety of layouts. There are 2 or 3 boss layouts in the game, and they are standouts. I really like the spider boss, as you have to hit his legs first, then get a slug, then hit him in his mouth. It has 2 levels, includes the slug mechanic, and is visually interesting. The ancient ruins and the screech boss itself are also really good. You have to free some guys early on in the area, then they help out during the fight. It's a very clever take on the multi-ball frenzy from Pinball. I enjoy those parts quite a lot, even if I am just frantically jamming the bumpers non-stop. These boss tables are a good climax to certain parts of the game. I just wish there were more of them. I'll mention this again later, but I really think if the game had 2 or 3 more of these boss pinball tables, it would have felt like a more complete experience. Because this is a Metroid-style game, you gotta have upgrades to collect. Thankfully, all the upgrades in the game, while not being completely original, are different enough and fit the world so well that you might as well call them new. The party blower can break open pots and is extra annoying, so you can get someone's attention. The grapple hook has you swinging in a circle, waiting for the right time to release. Underwater unlock power has you use a fish to dive deep. And the bomb upgrade is a vacuum that sucks up explosive slugs only in specific areas. Even the cosmetic upgrades can give you unique dialogue, customization between flavors, and are required for some optional quests. Cosmetic unlocks without paying extra? What year is it? Out of the upgrades you receive, the grapple hook and bomb upgrades are handled the most interestingly. Grappling hooks in general aren't anything new, but having to time your release points when successively swinging from point to point feels smooth and rewarding. And there are some tricks to it regarding whether you're swinging clockwise or counterclockwise. The slug bomb upgrade being a situational thing has its pros and cons. The pro being it actually requires some amount of thought and skill to be able to break open some of the rocks. Sometimes you need to access a slug from an area you didn't even consider. The slugs themselves being a timed explosion helps tension, as getting to the rock without it blowing up too early is a challenge in and of itself. The con being that slugs can get in your way when you don't want them, they explode when you fall between the bumpers into the thorny pits, moving around with them on the ball can be wonky, and getting them to come out at all when their lair isn't hittable is sometimes frustrating. The cons of both the grappling hook and the slugs being that if you don't need them but are passing by, the game, seemingly for your benefit, will enter a slow-mo for a moment, wasting your time and potentially mess up whatever thing you were working on. You also collect fruit, which is the currency of the game. You have a starting fruit capacity of 100, and you can upgrade your wallet as you progress through the game doing side quests, reaching a final capacity of 600. There are pros and cons to the wallet as well. Getting upgrades is fun, knowing you can carry more fruit is a relief. However, hitting that capacity will happen frequently, and it's a pain when you do. A lot of the rewards for tiny accomplishments is more fruit, which means nothing with a full wallet. Especially annoying in this scenario, where I did the proper cosmetic puzzle with this character, but the reward was fruit, which meant nothing to me at the time. When I returned with more room for fruit, it was gone, and it wouldn't come back. Not the best feeling. Most of the game I was scrambling around finding places to spend my fruit. It would make times where spending my fruit was more of a reward than finding it. It also really made me second guess on opening chests or not. I don't think chests should be a reward that can be opened at the wrong time and be wasted. There were times I struggled on the decision to open one or not. Sometimes it was well worth it and well timed as I received a wallet upgrade. Other times I wasted close to 30 plus fruit for nothing. And chests are one of my favorite tropes in video games, so it didn't feel great having the potential fruit waste loom on that experience. Choosing fruit as the currency was a good choice though. It adds to the vibrant color scheme and happy-go-lucky atmosphere, until that atmosphere is shattered by the God Slayer. The story of the game is the last god of the world fled to this island to escape the God Slayer, who has, as the name implies, killed the other gods. The mark has been laid on Makuma, and you are to bring the chiefs together to plan what to do next. Once you do, you gather the instruments and begin a song of healing. For a happy little game, it plays a sneaky and incredibly unexpected trick on the player. Turns out that Kickback, who helped you earlier to not fall into thorny pits, is the God Slayer the whole time. He pals around with you to keep up the act and plan his next move. For an antagonist that is absent most of the game, this is a pretty smart idea. I had forgotten he existed at all in my first playthrough, and when he announced himself as the God Slayer, I couldn't believe it. Even though you don't see any cutscenes or dialogue where he is acting evil or whatever throughout the game, he's been with you the whole time, so he personally has affected the player. So now you have the motivation of the story and the island gods, and the personal betrayal of Kickback, who was just using you. Little bastard. Dialogue from the turtle hints at the God Slayer being disguised amongst us. Once you gather all 3 chiefs, he says, "just as planned," in a different lettering, and once you grab the instruments, Kickback says, "that's my cue," and skirts off. So it was properly foreshadowed throughout the game. Once he outs himself, he's the final boss. Unfortunately, he isn't as good of a fight as the other boss tables in the game. I actually couldn't believe that he went down so fast. I thought for sure there would be multiple phases, but when Nim just said, "good job, we couldn't have done it without you," then the credits began rolling, I was stunned. I like short games, but this was pushing it. Besides adding more boss tables in general to flesh the game out, they really should have handled this end boss with some more flair. I like that you need to use the bumper to dodge his attack. It feels more like a boss fight from a Metroid-style game than any of the others, but the music isn't a good fit for this fight, the fight itself isn't long enough, and the ending blow doesn't feel rewarding. I don't think the beginning of the game, where you finish your very first pinball table, should feel more rewarding and climactic than the end boss. It ends very abruptly, and there's no thematic tie-in with the mail either, which is a shame. They could have potentially done something with the letters you cram into the mailboxes. Maybe all the mailboxes in the game lead to a singular mail tube or something, and the letters you've been cramming in them the whole game all spurt out a Kickback to save the day. Maybe Lemon the postal parrot flies down to rescue Yoku from Kickback by cramming a late package into his mouth, leading to a victory blow. Really, anything would have been nice. The mail really isn't used in any of the fights, unfortunately. Having the postal service job as an excuse to explore the island is a good idea, but discarding it once you gather the 3 chiefs seems like a missed opportunity. Before I wrap up, I should mention that there is a slightly different, more definitive ending if you get all the Wickerlings on the island which awakens the God Egg. However, I wasn't able to capture footage of that ending as my game glitched out on Willow's quest. You're supposed to use Willow to knock an icicle down from the ceiling of an area. I knocked it down way before the quest started. Even though I have what he's looking for, the icicle is gone. There's a hole in the middle of the floor. He forever tells me to knock the icicle down. There isn't a known way to get 100% if this glitch happens, so if you're watching this and want to get 100%, don't touch this area until you need to with Willow. As a Metroid-style game, there's a lot to love here. Plenty of upgrades to collect, lots of secrets to find, incentives to remember inaccessible areas. As a pinball game, it doesn't hold up quite as well, but that's not to say those parts are bad. Adding a few more boss table sections, as well as a good finale table with multiple levels, would have helped a lot. The combination of the 2 genres is very creative. You're not going to find other games like it. I should know. I checked thoroughly after I finished the game. Not only am I happy this game exists because I like playing it, I'm happy it exists to give players something different. If you're looking for a fun game you'll enjoy your time with, you can't go wrong with Yoku's Island Express. Play me out, great music.